Jim Courier points out what he heard from Coco Gauff after her US Open loss to Naomi Osaka that he really liked. Jim Courier remains highly optimistic about what the future holds for Coco Gauff, despite her damaging loss to Naomi Osaka last night. This might be a controversial view for some, who will have been shocked to watch the American exited the US Open in such an unceremonious fashion. She barely put up a fight against the two-time former champion in New York, who crushed her in every aspect of the game. It was completely one-sided, and without context, there'd be little for Coco Gauff to feel positive about. However, Courier, a self-proclaimed optimist, has explained why he is excited after what he saw and heard. Jim Courier is optimistic for Coco Gauff. Speaking on Tennis Channel, he admitted, "I like her positivity on the back end of talking to her team and then pointing out, hey, your serve was actually pretty good today. So the trajectory in this cauldron of pressure, she was improving, and she'll go home now and keep working on it. It's going to solidify." Courier then made a prediction about how Gauff's progression will go across the next 6 months or so. "I think by the time she rolls into Melbourne for the next major, I don't think the serve is really going to be something she's going to worry about. She's gonna have to be just as mindful with the forehand." He finished by outlining one fear he does have, but backs her to find a solution. "She goes a lot like this on her forehead. If you see a lot of what Osaka does, how her forehand does devastating work, she finishes over here, a lot. The hand is down. Coco's hand, a lot of the time, the racket is pointing up to the sky. She's not getting any penetration on the shot. That's the next move for her, is develop more of this type of a forehand where, if she's got her palm down at the finish, that's going to create more of a driving forehand that she can do damage with. Because right now, the only damage she can really do is with angles, right? She can get it off the court. She can't really beat you through the court. Her backhand she can." In keeping with this positivity, Gauff made a promise to tennis fans after the match which will only support Courier's claims. Lindsay Davenport praises Naomi Osaka's game plan versus Coco Gauff. Whilst Courier was keen to praise Gauff, Lindsay Davenport naturally had to give some flowers to Naomi Osaka. After all, it was a comprehensive performance and a stunning result, born both of her technical and physical strength, as well as the tactical setup too. She pointed out, the first few rounds for Osaka, she was driving shots all over the court. The majority of her shots, she was using a forehand line. She was using her backhand cross. That worked for her in the first 3 rounds, but it was a much different Osaka in her match against Gauff. Very deliberate in her attack to the Gauff forehand. And also try not to get Gauff too wide on that side. She was funneling a lot of shots up the middle. So Gauff was forced to hit forehands from that right hip. And for Osaka, she forced Gauff to play forehands at least 2/3 of the time at about 67% for the match. This is not something every player is capable of, as Davenport continued. A lot of players go out there to play Gauff, they're not quite sure how to break down the forehand. They know they want to go to the forehand. Osaka was relentless. She was keeping her shots low. The second serve as well. She was sliding them into the forehand, but the forehand body, and Gauff just never got her contact point right, and Osaka knew exactly how she wanted to play it, then she executed it. Iga Swiatek responds when asked how she feels about having to play Amanda Anisimova again at the US Open. Iga Swiatek is back in the quarterfinals of the US Open, maintaining the magical form she has exhibited all summer. Starting at Wimbledon, she has just continued to win and win, picking up her first title at the All England Club before then winning the Cincinnati Open too. Now, she is on the warpath in New York, and it would be unwise to bet against her. However, the former world #1 faces a unique threat next, with American Amanda Anisimova almost certain to be itching to get revenge. After all, she was the last victim in Iga Swiatek's Wimbledon crusade, beaten heavily, 6-0, 6-0 in the final. Quizzed on that potential showdown, the Polish superstar gave an interesting answer. Iga Swiatek reacts to potentially facing Amanda Anisimova again. After all, it had not yet been decided who she would be facing, with Anisimova yet to face Beatriz Haddad Maia. Naturally, she won with ease, thus setting up the clash everybody wants to see. Asked about her ruthlessness in that final, And how she might feel if they were to meet again, Swiatek admitted. I mean, I think most of us were raised that way. Yeah, if you want to become an athlete, you need to want to win the point, and yeah, honestly, I think every athlete has kind of the same vision and mentality, but obviously, because of the score at Wimbledon, everybody started asking these questions. When you don't play sports, you don't get it, but if you do, then you know that you're not going to give anything for free. And yeah, well, we'll see how the match goes. There's no point now for me to overthink who I'm going to play. I'm just going to see who wins and what I'll prepare. Anisimova said she wanted to face Swiatek at the US Open just last week, and it seems she has got her wish. Iga Swiatek is looking on track to win her 7th Grand Slam. Whilst Anisimova will certainly pose a larger threat than she did earlier this summer, it's hard to imagine anybody beating Swiatek in her current form. After all, she is playing with freedom and consistency unlike ever before, with the pressure seemingly lifted. At Wimbledon, she cruised through the draw. Then, moving from grass to hard courts, she won in Cincinnati without dropping a single set. Anisimova, alongside other stars like Aryna Sabalenka and Naomi Osaka, could certainly pose a threat to this claim at the US Open. However, Swiatek is enjoying a supreme winning run, and it would be hard for anyone to stop her momentum. The Arthur Ashe Stadium lights glimmered like constellations over the hard court, the echoes of cheers and gasps still lingering in the humid New York air. The 2025 US Open 4th-round clash between Coco Gauff and Naomi Osaka had been billed as a blockbuster, a meeting of two stars whose stories intertwined like the braided strings of their rackets. When the final ball was struck, a blistering Osaka forehand down the line that sealed her victory, Coco Gauff's shoulders slumped, her eyes flickered with disappointment, and yet, her resolve remained unshaken. In the post-match press conference, journalists leaned forward, expecting perhaps tears, frustration, or excuses. Instead, Coco's voice was steady, warm, even. Naomi played amazing tonight, she said. She found her rhythm early, and I didn't adjust fast enough. That's on me. But this is part of the journey, and I wouldn't want it any other way. Those words didn't just vanish into the cavernous interview room. They stuck with tennis legend and commentator Jim Courier, who had been watching intently. Later, in his role as an analyst, Courier would reveal that what he'd heard from Coco struck him in a way that made him sit up straighter. What really impressed me wasn't just her grace in defeat, Courier said during the broadcast recap.